So we've done our do now questions on division. Now we're moving on to exercise 1H, which is on estimating and rounding whole numbers. What does estimating mean? What's the difference between an estimate and a guess? Taylor, you got it? Perfect. An estimate is an educated guess. Now, a guess could be a completely wild one. You could just say, I'm going to guess there's 300 trees in the school. But an estimated guess, or an estimate, could be, well, I know there's 50 trees in this area, so there's probably this number of trees in the area, in this whole school, right? It's an educated guess. And we're rounding whole numbers. So this is on page 40 of your textbook, but the questions start on page 43. So I'm going to say, well, let's start by saying, what if I had 85? And let's say I didn't actually care about the specific number. I just want a general number. How would I round 85 to the nearest 10? How would I do that? Noah? Sorry? Yeah. Let's look at the number we're going to move. In this case, if we're saying that 85 to the nearest 10, what option answers are there? Like, what options are there? It's like 10, 20, 30, 40. It's only going to be one of those, right? 80, 90, whatever it is. So we're going to try and get the second digit to be a 0. That's what we're looking for, yeah? Would you guys agree? Yeah? Lovely. Now, if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, we round down. Can I get you guys to copy that down? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, we round down. If it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we round up. Copying that down now. Thank you very much. Alright, so that's rounding to the nearest 10. What happens if you need to round to the nearest 100? So what I'm going to propose is, what if we had, so let's say that's question 1A. Let's look at question 1B, where I have 4,312, and I need to round it to the nearest 100. Nearest 100. Henry? Yeah, exactly right. So I'm going to focus on, let's focus on what I need to round. It's to the nearest 100. So what possible answers could I have, Taylor?
So you have to round the last.
Exactly right. I'm looking at moving the last 2 digits. So I'm going to highlight those last 2 digits. You can see how there are 2 zeros there. And in the question before, we had 1 0. So we focus on the last digit. This number right here, and I'm going to use my pink to underline it. That's what we call a leading digit. Okay? It's the number that we're focusing on. So for example, if it's to the nearest 100, that is in the 100th position. Make sense? In this one, if we're looking at the nearest 10, what's the leading digit? What position is that going to be? Tens. Because that's going to be in the tens position. So what we do is look at the number after the leading digit. So right now in this question over here, I've got 3 as my leading digit. What's the number after?
4.
As in this 4,312. 1. The digit right here is 1. So if it's a 1, do I round up or down? Down. So I'm going to write 4, 3. Now instead of writing 1, I round down to 0. Now do I write 2 there? No, I keep writing 0. So now it's to the nearest 100. Does that make sense? Yeah? So when we're rounding whole numbers, it's pretty straightforward. But what happens when we're trying to estimate more complex equations? So let's say I have question 2, and I want you guys to write this down. 96 times by 21. 96 times 21. We could try and solve it using our understanding of multiplication. We can multiply those big numbers, but it would take a bit of time. We could also just estimate, approximate. So what's 96 close to? It's close to 100. Okay, I'm going to write 100 over here. What's 21 close to? 20. What's 100 times 20? Now remember, I'm going to add the zeros. So how many zeros here? 2. So I'm going to add zeros there and end up with 2,000. So a total of 3 zeros. Bam, we've estimated what 96 times 21 is. And if I grab my calculator out and I quickly go 96 times by 21, the answer is 2016 is actually quite accurate. So we need to be able to know how to approximate and then solve those equations. Do I have any questions?